Thank you. Good evening. After all the facts that have recently been exposed about Jesse Clayton Forkner and his extreme racism, which led to the creation of deed restrictions excluding so many of us, restrictions that occurred across our city, we request this board discuss the case for removing J.C. Forkner from the campus. And we do ask you to place this matter on your next regularly scheduled board meeting, which I believe is on August 11th of this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asadorian. Mr. Irax, followed by Mr. Eritzian.
Hey there. J.C. Forkner's real estate covenants ban blacks, Asians, Armenians, Hindus, and Mexicans from entire sections of the city, and in doing so, changed forever the landscape of Fresno. His codes were enforced from the 1910s to the 1950s and inspired other developers and builders to do the same. This pattern of hate became codified in our government and social institutions. The overt racism of real estate exclusion led to the covert racism of redlining. His actions continue to contort the very shape of Fresno today. Think of how many thousands of our fellow citizens, the vast majority of them people of color, who have been robbed of the equity wealth they would have accumulated had they been able to buy a house in a neighborhood of their choice. The removal of J.C. Forkner's name is an obvious case of redress. Forkner isn't John Muir, he isn't Teddy Roosevelt, he isn't John C. Fremont, each of whom has a school named after him in Fresno. These other men are extremely complicated figures of American history who've had entire books written about them, narratives that attempt to reconcile their good deeds with their bad deeds. Forkner, on the other hand, is a modern-day local figure whose racist coding is still a deep wound on Armenians and the larger community. Lumping him in with a drawn-out study of all the other school names in Fresno is not only unnecessary, but a tactic of delay intended to push us away. It feels like a bureaucratic trick, a kind of cover for anti-Armenian bias. When members of the indigenous community came to you with their call to remove the warrior mascot from Fresno High, did you tell them that their concerns had to be put on hold so the issue could be sent to a committee that would address the 100 other mascots in Fresno Unified? The Awani Warrior, the Tenaya Brave? No. You dealt with their issue as a distinct concern that needed to be addressed straight away. We are asking that you treat the Armenian community and those excluded alongside us with the same respect. We are asking that this issue be placed on the agenda at the next school board meeting. This will give the staff more than enough time to confirm the truth of Forkner's past and point to an obvious solution. Remove his name and replace it with H. Roger Tatarian so that the school in Fresno might finally be named after an Armenian. Thank you.
There he is.
Good evening. I find it troubling that the decision to rename Forkner Elementary after H. Roger Tatarian is so difficult for the board. This is not a political issue. This is a historical issue. This is an opportunity for you to right an egregious wrong that your predecessors committed. In fact, there are members on this board who are on totally different sides of the spectrum, the political spectrum, who find themselves in agreement on this topic. And I applaud you for that, because we have to work together to solve this country's, this world's problems together without putting our individual concerns above the right and the wrong things to do. And I thank you for showing us how you can do this. It's a lesson to be learned to all of our children. But for the rest of the board that is committed to social justice and equity for all, why do you hesitate on this issue? Yet you jumped at the chance to rename the mascot of Fresno High. Perhaps we Armenians don't fit your vision, narrative, or agenda for your righteous social justice causes, but we didn't fit J.C. Forkner's vision either. At least we know where you stand in your fake attempts to be social justice warriors.
No, there's no next. That's it. You know, I have something to say. I'm sorry, I usually don't do this. It is offensive for people to try to call us racist, for people to try to say that we haven't done our jobs, for people to say that it's our fault that a school is not named after an Armenian. We have had Armenians on this board. I just got here. We've had Armenians on this board. So it's not all my fault that a school hasn't been named. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, by the way. I'm not saying that at all. But it's not all our fault. So for us to be consistently getting darts thrown at us, and half of us just got here, is not really fair. You guys know I will meet with anybody, sit with anybody, anybody can call me. I never shy away from anything because I'm not scared. Only thing I'm afraid of is God. So with that being said, I never mind sitting down with anybody, having any conversations. I'm done.
Thank you. For the record, the public was also given an opportunity to submit public comment for this portion of the agenda no later than 5 p.m. June 15, 2021, and the board received 5 submissions from public comment. Those submissions are posted on our web page and will remain on the web page 1 week, and the summary of the topic along with the names of the individual will be included in the minutes. B42. Discuss and adopt the Fresno Unified School District's 2021 Local Control Accountability